So I was trying to look for a video on how to replace bass audio in your BMW F10 LCI to something better, and the problem that I found was that these BMWs, they don't have an amp. So no matter what you put there, no matter what speakers you put there or there, it will still play like crap because there is nothing to amplify the volume or the bass. So I was trying to look for something on how to, DIY for somebody who has no idea of how electronics work, or very basic idea how to make this work. And I went with a local in Finland brand called AI Sonic, but I think it works with the same, all of these plug and play systems that you can find online. Where what I ordered from them was a set of underseat speakers that will go there, an amp that I'll show to you later, and all of the wiring, because wiring is the worst part for somebody like me, because this looks scary for the first time when you see it, but it's actually not as hard as I thought. So some notes on my system. This is the NBT professional navigation, all perks and cool things, comp box included, but it had the bass audio, so I bought used Harman Kardon mid-range speakers here and replaced them, and I bought Harman Kardon tweeters. I bought this OEM from HiFi system because I feel like, unless you really have Harman Kardon, having these AliExpress Harman Kardon notes here is somewhat weird. Yeah, so stay true at least as much as you can. And yeah, first thing you have to do is effectively have to install the amp. And based on your BMW, because no two BMWs are the same, you may have different configuration of your trunk. So you'll have a lid here that is held up here on two bolts here and here. You just screw them out, like they would be like this, or black ones, depending on how your this area is sort of arranged on your car. You may have like a niche here. I have this weird thing with a tire inflation kit, and here on the side you will always have, this is where your OEM amp would go. If you have HiFi system or Harman Kardon or Bang & Olufsen, it comes here. And this is where I think I will put the amp later when I tune everything, but I will have to take this one out because my amp will not fit vertically. It will just not allow anything else to fit on top. So I'll just put it horizontally. I'll make a mount for it and move the comp box either on top of it or somewhere there. I don't know yet where I'll move it. But these side panels, I mean, it's identical on both sides. Relatively easy to take off. There are a few clips here, here. This one is a Torque 30. Just screw it out, turn it, and pull it out. Like turn it 90 degrees. And there is one clip, I hope you can see it, but it's right here. And you'll have two clips here. This is where I almost ripped off the other side. So there is one and there is two. In case you don't have foldable bench, which I think most of you do, if you don't have a foldable bench, you'll have to take off, I guess, the whole thing to make, to work with it. I don't know, to be honest. In my case, there are just two pillows here, very easy to take out. There is a clip here. You effectively put your fingers under the pillow, move it up a little bit from this end, and just rip it off, and it just comes out very easy. And then you just pull it out. It goes like, there is this, like a, I don't know, plastic thing that goes inside. You just pull it out. That's it. It's as easy as it gets, because you want to get access to these wiring boxes, because we need to put the cable through here and then under there. So these sides we will still take out. To remove the bench, extremely easy. Like you can see, there's one loop here and one loop here. You literally just put your hand here and just pull it up, and it just comes out from both sides. Just be careful with these. Sometimes they get stuck, so don't rip your seat. And these are, if you have heated seats, heated rear seats, make sure you unplug these and don't rip them off. Yeah, so that's the first bit of it. Now I'll just show it to you on how it works on just one seat, and yeah, after that, let's see. So I came to a tricky thing here. These panels are tricky. There is a pin here that you just pull out with one of these tools. It's a simple thing like this. You pull the pin out, then you pull the actual holder. But these are very tricky to remove, and the way I removed it is I had to sort of well, first you pull it here a little bit, and then effectively just pull it up the side of it, because in my case all of the actual plugs that remain in, all of these, like the pins, whatever they're called, and they unlock from here. So I guess you can pull it out just by pulling, but I don't think there's enough room for it, to be honest, because this thing here gets in the way of pulling it up, but I guess you can. So that's one thing to note. Now I need to figure out how to take off this part. So a few things to note. When you're removing side panel here, first thing, you unclick it from this part, like they're actually like linked together. So you pull it from this corner, you will hear it like clicks here. Then you do same thing on this side. And then I recommend using something like this, or maybe even with a longer side. Just pull it up here, pull it up, and it just comes out. So quite easy. So this gives you a chance to move the carpet without removing the side panel. I hope so, we will see. But then when you get to removing this plastic coverage here, note that like it's all inserted like this. It's easier to first just loosen the bolt a little bit. There is one plastic clip there. You push that down. Well, in my case that one is broken. That's nice. So this will be easier. And then there is one like this thing. You'll see like this dimple here. You press that inside, and then you also pull it at the same time. Can't do it with the camera in my hands, but one thing that I noticed was that when I pulled it out, this thing was still under. So note about this piece, it gets stuck under there, so pull it sideways. So in this case it's under there, so make sure you pull it out. Well, you may need to loosen the bolt even more for that, but that's the general gist of it. So just a tip to remove these easier. Hope it will help you. So after you remove the seat, some recommend to remove this harness. I don't need to because there is enough room. So if you will be removing the seat, you need to remove this harness. Just pull this lever here, this whole thing comes out, and then, well, you can remove your seat safely. I don't need to because I think there is enough room. So there is this thing usually here covering the speaker. Just remove it. It's T20 screws, and this is the crap that is supposed to make some kind of a base when you're here, but it doesn't. So now the challenge is to remove these tiny screws here. There's one here, one there, one there, and I think should be one more somewhere here. Yes, there is another one. So let's see how that works. So actually I had to move seat there, so it's chilling there because there isn't enough room to make this one work. So the harness I told you about, had to pull it out. So this is what you get in the base audio system. There's like see-through, I don't know how many inches is it, like 6 inches, I don't know, but this is just like a piece of fabric. It's like pantyhose level quality. This is what we're getting instead. Much more substantial piece of equipment with some damping here so it wouldn't resonate on this cheap plastic. And the way we connect it is we pull the cords under here, pull it here, and let's see, this may be tricky or maybe simple. So I figured out that it's actually easier to pull these things out of here to attach here, because otherwise, I mean, clipping them in is virtually impossible when you just try to, you know, like with any normal panel, when you just try to push it down and that's it, it just doesn't work. So pull them out using something like this. Be very careful, it may leave some scuffs like I did here. You see small scuff. So, I mean, it's not like anybody will see it, but you will know it's there. So yeah, and then, you know, you figure out what to do with the extra cables. I'll probably just pull mine to the trunk and leave them there, but a lot of room. Otherwise, if you don't have rear climate control, pulling cords would be easier, because in my case I actually had to go around the vents. I just wasn't able to pull the connectors through, and I didn't want to take it any further. I mean, it's not like it's pushing on it or anything, it's just the cable goes alongside this wall and then comes down there. So, and there it goes through the normal harness space and will go in there and to the trunk. So here is the amp, the last bit you need for the system. Relatively simple 4-channel amplifier, 105 watts at 2 ohms impedance or 75 watts, which is more than enough for normal system that we're installing. What we need is the input, which will go here, input cables, and just plug them in. We need a power cable to plug into the car battery and the actual amp itself. We need a ground cable, again grounding to any metal bolt in the trunk, and the remote, and that's it. So you will soon see how this whole thing looks like when it's installed. So running the cables, left side was exactly the same as right side, or right to left, depends which side, if you're looking from the front or the back. This is a temporary solution, so I will put it there later, but now I just need to check that it works. So power cable here, grounded to the original grounding mount. Now I just need to reassemble the car and see if it works. One thing I know for sure, it doesn't work on the driver's side door. So the door speakers don't work, only the subwoofer, which is weird, but I'll need to check it out. The right side works perfectly, so maybe I wired something in the wrong way, but it seems that, at least at the first glance, everything should be fine, but we will see.